Okay, this is Deborah with Black Education TV. Now, I said I was going to do this, so here I am. I wanted to talk about Killmonger. Yes, I wanted to talk about Killmonger because, again, this Black Panther movie has stirred up so much conversation. People are talking, people are analyzing, people are fighting. I mean, so much going on because of this film. And there is so much more to it than what we even see people talking about. Killmonger, the villain. Now, I want to give you my take on this villain because right now there is a lot of confusion going on. Our people, we are so reactive to things, right? And it's okay. It's okay. But sometimes you have to sit back and you have to analyze things a little deeper than what you are looking at or what you want to feel. You have to look at things a lot deeper. And let me tell you what I mean by that. I've seen people say that this villain was actually the hero. And I know why they're saying that. I've seen other people say, no, this villain was actually a villain. I've seen people say that this villain made some good points and some bad points. Now, I'm going to tell you where I stand with this villain. And anyone who hasn't seen this film, don't make any opinions based or make any comments based on some emotion that stirred up in you from something someone shared with you. You actually have to see the film to understand every point of view as it relates to this Killmonger villain. He played the villain, okay? Seeing the movie gives you a better reference point. Now, for me, he was a dangerous man. Now, before you start commenting on what I have to say, hear the conclusion of the whole matter. I'm going to explain to you why I believe he was a dangerous man. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you the things that he was about that I did agree with. When he made the statement that the land of Wakanda had all of these vast resources and all of this technological advancement at their fingertips, he felt that all of that should have been shared with the 2 billion black people that are on this planet. And he was basically coming from the standpoint of we've been on the bottom for so long and we have this at our fingertips. We should make sure that our people all over the planet are benefiting from this. And I agree with him. But the execution of his plan is where I part ways. And now, I'm going to get into it now. This is the problem I have with our people. You take one good thing about a person, or you take one bad thing about a person, and you run with that without looking at the end result of the whole situation. And that's something we cannot do. When you are making the kind of decisions that this Killmonger was trying to make, you have to think before you act. You cannot afford to be reactionary in what he was trying to do. Now, if you can't make up your mind what flavor cake you want, whether chocolate or vanilla, that's one thing. Okay, that's peanuts. But when you're talking about ruling the world, this is something you have to think out very carefully, especially when you're trying to go up against people who have been very crafty in how they execute their domination around this planet. Now, the first thing that I'd like to say that I disagree with, and this is the point that many of you are missing, those of you who are cheering for Killmonger, you are cheering for this man. He was a dangerous man. You have to remember all of his life. Now, you see, you're sympathizing with this little boy who lost his dad. And so he grew up with all this rage. So that's where you go. That's where you go wrong right there. You're sympathizing with this person who grew up with all this rage that's bubbling over. And so now he's ready to execute some vengeance and violence because of the rage that was in him. Who does he want to behave violently against first? He goes after the people who are his family, his cousin, his aunts. one of the elder women of Wakanda. He lifts her up and choking her by her neck. And you say he's a hero? His first acts of violence were against the women of Wakanda and the people of Wakanda, the men of Wakanda. His first acts of violence, but I'm seeing even women saying that he was the hero. So you want to put a man like that in power who was willing to kill his own family. As a matter of fact, he dreamt of the day that he can kill the Black Panther, which was his cousin. Now, mind you, see, many of you are sympathizing with him because his father was killed by one of the Wakandan men. You're sympathizing with him. But his cousin didn't even know he existed, was a child himself when that happened, had no idea that this happened, but he wants vengeance against him. He wants to kill him. And not only was he willing to choke out one of the senior elder women of the land and kill his own female cousins, he wanted to destroy the valuable healing herbs. He said, destroy all of it. Now here, these people have had this stuff for centuries on their land, and it's for the healing of the nation. But this villain wanted to destroy all of it, and you all say he's the hero. He is a dangerous man. He was a dangerous man to want us. Now, if you look at the film, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling it for anyone, I'm sorry. If you don't want it to be spoiled, just cut it off right now, okay? Go see it. And then you can check out my commentary later. But this man, Killmonger, wanted to destroy these powerful herbs. Now imagine, I'm not talking about just green herbs. This stuff was glowing in the garden. So you know this is a fictional film, right? But you can see the power radiating from these herbs. And this monster wanted to destroy it. And he wanted to harm and kill some of his female relatives who had just met him. So his first impression on them was that, look, woman, I know you are a relative, but I will kill you. But yet I see a lot of so-called Black people saying that he was the hero. Why? Because he wanted to give you some money, some wealth? Because that's what it boils down to. It boils down to all of you saying, well, he wanted to give us something. Well, here are some of the good points that I saw others making about Killmonger. Here are some of the good points that others were making. This man is so out of control that he sees the power of what they have in that land, including the herbs. Why destroy that? Now, if you wanted to do something, he wants to be able to control and dominate the world. You have to understand who you're dealing with. First of all, when he came on the scene, everyone was talking about how the Black Panther was willing to help the white people, right? But who did Killmonger come on the scene with? A white villain. That's who he came on the scene with, people who helped him to execute his evil plan. They were trying to use someone responsible. As a matter of fact, this person actually helped them when they were being hunted. When these people were trying to kill them, this man helped them. The CIA agent, that white fella. Or FBI, one of those. But anyway, the white villain that Killmonger had, he was there to do damage. He was there to kill, steal, and destroy. And he was Killmonger's ally until Killmonger killed him. And Killmonger also didn't care about his girlfriend. Y'all see what happened with that? She was killed too. Even though she helped him get to where he was, helped him to execute his plan. Oh, she was exposable. I'm sorry, she was disposable. Didn't even care. Her life meant nothing. She was gunned down, dropped dead, and that was the end of that. But yet, a large chunk of our people are saying that he was the hero because, again, it's that greed. You're thinking about what he said he wanted to do. That was nothing to me, nothing more than a campaign promise. He claimed that he wanted all of the the prized possessions and all of the wealth of Wakanda at his fingertips so that he can rule the world. That's all that was. It was world domination. If he was that willing to kill his own people and his own girlfriend just died like that, the one who helped him get to where he was, do you think he was going to keep any promise he was making to you? See, our people are not thinking. This is what we do all the time. This is that same thing that causes a woman to fall in love with the bad guy. But look at the good guy and say, oh, he's too boring. But you like that one that's rough around the edges because you say he has some good sex, or because he's fine, or his body is wow. You fall in love with that, but you don't look at that heart on the inside and see that this villain or this bad boy is no good. And that when it's all said and done, he will hurt you, just like Killmonger. But it's amazing how our people flock to that side. Now, I'm not excusing the Black Panther either, because I have something to say about him as well. One thing I wanted to do, though, was I wanted to discuss how our people gravitated towards a villain who was a true villain. You don't realize that even those who went to his side, were disposable. He would have killed them too. Don't think for 1 minute that this hero that you are calling a hero, which is really a villain, wouldn't have killed you too. Look at what he was willing to do to his own people. When he came on the scene, he was establishing right away that I will kill you dead. But yeah, he's the hero. I keep saying that because I want you all to think. And as one person pointed out, he was willing to share all of their resources on the free world market willy-nilly, not even understanding who he's dealing with. But yet he's talking about, I've dealt with this one, I've dealt with that one, I've done this, that, and the other. If you understood who you were truly dealing with, you can't take the approach that you're trying to take with the weapons and why destroy the herbs too? I don't get that. Those herbs were literally bringing people back from the dead. Do you hear what I'm saying? Those herbs, this is why we got to point out this was a fictional film, but I'm trying to get you to see a mindset here. They had herbs that were bringing people back from the dead, but your hero, Killmonger, wanted it all destroyed. And that's who you want. It kind of reminds me of the scripture where the Most High, the scripture told you that this king was going to do all of this stuff to you. He's going to mistreat you, misuse you, abuse you, do all these things. Most High said, look, I want to be your king. But you want a king that you can see, is what you said, right? But he's going to do all of this horrible stuff to you. And what did the children of Israel say? But we still want a king. We still want him. I know you told us he going to do all this stuff. He going to be this dirty, rotten scoundrel, but we still want him. And the Most High said, okay. You got it. It's showtime. So that's my take on Killmonger. I could say so much more. I really could. But I'm just trying to establish and show the mindset of our people here. Now, Wakanda in general, this was a haven for the people of Wakanda. They kept it all within their walls for their people. The technology, the herbs, all of it was for their people. Now, some people said that was selfish, and so that's why they applauded Killmonger, because they were like, well, he wanted to share it with all black people. No, he wanted control of all of it. If you really read between the lines, he wanted control over all of it, and he wanted to use it to dominate the world. That's what he wanted to do. It had nothing to do with him per se wanting to help all of our people. Now, that's not to say he wouldn't have done some of that, but he wanted to rule in violence, anger, and tyranny. And the fact that he even partnered with those other villains to begin with showed that, oh, he's one that could easily just go rogue on you. He went rogue right away. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm even doing this video. And I know many of you aren't going to agree because you're going to have that same mindset of, oh, but we still want a king. We know he's going to be killing us and mistreating us and abusing. We still want him, though. He's still the hero. Now, let me tell you about the cousin T'Challa. He was one who wanted to initially keep it all for the people of Wakanda. And in the end, they had that meeting at the UN. This is what I say. This is how I would have handled all of that. I would have still kept it all a secret. And I would have done my secret missionary work around the world. And I wouldn't have had to say, well, Wakanda has this, that, or the other. That's where I think he's foolish. Because just like his cousin launched his attack, once these people on the world market, and again, this is a fictional film, but we know the mindset of these people. If this was real, I think it was foolish for him to go before the UN and tell these people about what Wakanda could do. You're talking about dishonest people who have created reasons to invade lands and take resources. And so I thought that was very foolish of the Black Panther to go and say, hey, this is what we got and we want to help everybody. No, I did think that was just downright stupid. There is a way to move about like a stealth and keep your resources under wraps and still be able to do what you're trying to do. For that matter, I would have bought an island somewhere and had small portions of whatever this help that I wanted to offer or whatever resources I wanted to sell or whatever. Only a small portion on that island. They would have never known the origins of this stuff because you have to understand their mind. They have a mind of invasion. So now you're telling them about your resources, dummy. I'm sorry, y'all, but I think he's a dummy to tell them, hey, Wakanda has this. It can do this. It can do that. It is the most powerful resource on the planet. You're telling it to greedy people who have invaded lands on lies. Oh, they have weapons of mass destruction. I can see it now, if this were real. Wakanda has weapons of mass destruction. We, the police of the planet, are going to have to go in there and disarm them before they destroy everybody. So for that, Black Panther, you were a big dummy. Okay, that's my review, family. Please don't take any of this serious. This was just a fictional film. There is no such place as Wakanda, even though people are trying to line it up with what area of Africa they really think it was. You know, I mean, people are just coming up with all kinds of things, which is it's fine if that's what you want to do. Wakanda never existed. That technology that they showed in the film, the technology wasn't real. The glowing herbs that can literally raise people from the dead, it was just part of the movie's fiction. It was like some purplish liquid. You drink it and you just light up. You know, all kinds of things happen. But we have to keep in mind, you have to be wise as a serpent when dealing with people who have already established who and what they are. And so for me, both of the fellas, the villain and the supposed good guy, probably should have sat this one out. Because neither of them knew what was best. You had the villain who wanted to just go wild and crazy on the whole planet, killing his own people and trying to rule other people without even carefully thinking about how he should execute his plan. He wants to dominate the world. And then you have the other fella who was right about wanting to protect the people of Wakanda, but then to go and share all of your resources, all the information in that humble, pitiful looking face. We just wanted the people of the world to know that Wakanda had. It's like, come on now. That sounds so ignorant to me to see him doing that before a world audience that has already proven what they're all about. Wakanda would be the next Syria if it was such a place. And so that is my take. That is my, I can't say it's my second review because I've spoken on other issues. This is just my review on the villain and the so-called hero, in which some people are saying that the actual villain was their hero and that the real hero was the bad guy. But I would call him the guy who wasn't really thinking before he went before the UN. Neither one of those fellas, as it relates to how to deal with the resources and the wealth and the secrets and the technology of Wakanda, I don't think either one of them qualified to even have that in their hands. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I would more so rather see them keep it all quiet and come up with another way to do the things that they wanted to do with the resources. If you wanted to really truly help the world, keep in mind that this is a world that never wanted to help you. But if that's just something you want to do, you went about it the wrong way by going on a world stage, telling these people all of your secrets about what you have in the land of Wakanda. Foolish. So, in that regard, I can see how that was written into the film. I would say they wrote that into the film to make Black people think that being docile and being helpful and forgiving your enemies and loving your enemies, it goes back to that. They wanted to write that in there, that despite how the world has been to so-called Black people for centuries, in the end, you all should just be so sweet and just bring your resources and just lay them at the governments of the world's feet so that they can spread them around to the people of the world, as if they would really do that. Once they got in that land, they would pick it apart. Every Wakandan would be dead. The ones that were alive and remain would be slaves. That's what history has told us. So why would you feel the need to share all of that with these people like that? And I know some of you are listening to me not understanding what the heck I'm talking about, thinking, oh, she just selfish. She would just be selfish. No, I'm saying there is a way to do this, to share those resources without telling your secret. You don't have to tell these people that your land is just running over with this blue gold. It's just like saying, world, here I am, come and take from me, because that's what they do. You have to be wise as serpents, people. So I'm enjoying the conversation as it relates to Black Panther. I was about to say Pink Panther, y'all. But I'm enjoying the conversation. I don't like the anger and the bitterness and the division. I don't like that part of it. But I do like to see those that are having great conversations, because there are some people that are having great conversations. And notice I said great conversations. They are having discussions that, are essentially causing people to rethink how we deal with each other. You see, I like that aspect of it, but I don't like the people who feel the need to demonize or judge those who went to see the film when your whole life is surrounded by Illuminati. Get rid of your money if it's that deep for you, because your money has all kinds of symbols on it. Hypocrisy among Black people sometimes is off the chain. It is off the chain. I do think that people should be careful what they see and what they hear, but there are some things that are just obvious. And some things, when there's nothing there, don't try to make something there. And I'm not talking about, oh, did you see the pyramid? They had a pyramid in the background. Okay, so what is that doing against you? Because your money has a pyramid on it. That's the point I'm trying to make, family. that some of us are so into conspiracy theories that you have people sitting up watching other people's videos saying, oh, see, I told you she made a hand gesture. Look at her. She's sending some type of secret message to the Illuminati. Oh, look at him. He winked funny. Oh, did you see how he flicked his ear? We're so busy doing things like that that we can't come up with any real solutions. And that's one thing that I like about this Black Panther film, that I see people talking solutions. Now, talk is cheap, though. Okay? You have to actually get out here and do things. Unification takes work. And that's one of those things that our people are having a hard time with. I like the aspect of unification among the people of Wakanda, but on a real, most of our people cannot unify. They can't come together. There's too much jealousy, hatred, envy, strife, bitterness, lying, cheating, backbiting, all kinds of things. So much of that stuff goes on to where most of us have just given up, and we've just said, look, I'm just going to do my thing, me and my family, and just leave it at that, because it's not even worth the headache. But for some that are still optimistic, the last thing they need to see is people bickering over a film. That people are so angry and cutting other folks off because of a film, sending other people to hell because of a film. When we are surrounded by things. Now, the one thing that gets me too, and I got to say this, someone said, I wonder how much of that money that they made from that film is going to go to the Black community. Well, let me ask you this. All of the things that you own and buy, how much of the money that is spent for the cars and vehicles and stuff that you have went to the Black community? The thousands that you spent on your car. Now, you're talking about someone who spent $6 for a ticket. That's what they cost where we were, $6, okay? Some spend 8, some spend 10. I don't know where you are, how much the tickets are. But you're asking people how much of that money that film make is going to go to the Black community. And I'm like, that is one question that just makes no sense. When you go to a restaurant, how much of that money goes to the Black community if it's not a Black-owned establishment? When you go to college, how much of that money goes to the Black community? When you buy your vehicles, when you buy your clothes, everything that you buy, how much of that goes to the Black community? So why all of a sudden, because this is a film about Black people, a fictional film, why all of a sudden is there this expectation that this film, the money made from this film, is supposed to go to the Black community? How much of the money that was made from, I'm just going to say Colors or New Jack City or Boys in the Hood, how much of that money went to the Black community? So are we saying that any money that is made from a film is supposed to go to the Black community? And then someone else said, why didn't we write and produce this film ourselves? I'm just addressing things that I've seen folk talking about. First of all, did you see the graphics and the special effects and all the stuff that was put forth in this film? How many of us could even afford to produce something like that? Even the richest Black person. You notice how Tyler Perry's films are mostly just kind of like neighborhood type things, just simple things. I don't see a lot of special effects in his movies. Do you know how much money it takes to produce those kind of effects? And you're questioning, why didn't Black people produce this themselves? We are not thinking as a people. We're just talking out of the side of our neck. This movie got people that riled up to where they're making all of these statements. How much of the money that you spent at McDonald's over the decades went to the Black community? So all of a sudden, this little $5, $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 that you spent for this movie is supposed to go to the Black community. How much of your money, period, goes to the Black community? Most of us spend our money outside of the Black community. But this issue of this film has done something. It has stirred people up. Some good, some bad. So we have to take the good, the bad, and the ugly on this one. Interesting film, family. Go and check it out. I love the film. And there is so much more I can say about the film. I'm trying to convince my husband to do a sit down with me and to discuss some things that we've discussed here in the house. I said sometimes I wish we can just have the camera rolling while we're just around the house here. But it would have been great to have some of the discussions that we have, even Aliyah, being in on the discussion. It would just be so much fun. Okay, family, I'm out. It's been great talking to you. And maybe I will be able to convince my husband to have that sit down with me, because we've had some very deep conversations about certain things. And, there are things that are being missed in the film. For those of you who are looking for the conspiracy theory aspect of things, there are some things that a lot of people are missing, or some people are seeing it. I have seen some people speak on some of the issues, but for the most part, most of our people were entertained. Some of them were energized to see the cultural aspect of how these Black people came together and were doing things and were smart with technology and all of that. A lot of our people were very empowered by that. And when I say empowered, I mean mentally. I'm not talking about spiritually. I'm not saying that they're going to float up to cloud 9 now and that they're in the truth, because you have people who, it's just really off the chart when you think of the religious aspect, that people are just so bothered by others going to enjoy a film. You see, they're so bothered by it to the point of not even examining their own selves and the hypocrisy at which they're coming at other people. You see. All right, family. That is my take on the villain and the hero, or the hero and the villain, whichever one you choose. For me, both of those fellas, they have a lot of work to do, and they were not ready to rule anything. And with that, I will say shalom.